Dearly beloved, we are gathered here to say our goodbyes to American Horror Story 1984. Welcome to Morning Reflections. I am your host, the Fat Mantis, and unfortunately here, I'm trying to gather my wits about me and say final words to 1984, American Horror Story's latest season. It'll be another 10 months before we see another new episode. What did this final episode have for us before the bitch died? Let's find out. Here we are at the final episode of the season, and I'm going to tell you, I liked absolutely everything that happened in it. I just would have liked it more if it was given more time, when there should have been either broken down into 2 episodes or an extended, at least an hour and a half. I feel like it was a great idea taking Jingles' son as an adult and having him see what's going on and having, you know, some sort of cathartic moment between Jingles and him, and telling this story that he gets to hear through hearsay or through other witnesses the past of what's going on. However, unfortunately, this epilogue situation replace the actual climax of the story. As we all know, the final part has to have a climax, a bang, a crash, fireworks, explosions. And although these fireworks are explained to us during the course of all these interviews Jingles' son Bobby is going through, what it does is it takes the drama away from us. It takes that energy away from us, which I desperately wanted. It is a shame they only had 9 episodes this season. I'm gonna tell you, I was not marveled by this ending, and as we all know, Ryan Murphy is not amazing with endings. He's amazing with a lot of things. He has a lot of great things going, which is why we'll always come back to this show. However, I feel a bunch of characters kind of got the brush off, including Brooke. Didn't absolutely love it, but I didn't absolutely hate it. As the episode goes, I'm just saying episode, not season, I'm gonna have to give it a 71. It didn't change anything. It didn't flip the script. Actually, it had done this epilogue situation, which we've seen in other American Horror Story seasons like Asylum, and honestly, they have probably done it better. Where does this season fall? And this is the toughest question, is what is your favorite season, or rank the season. So I'm going to rank my seasons. I'm going to let you know where American Horror Story 1984 landed on us. So we are going to go with number 9, and I'm going to go with Roanoke. This is possibly the only season that I did not like of American Horror Story. I can actually say that I have trouble rewatching it. Its gimmick of being a television show, although brilliant at first, wears off very quickly. Next is number 8, and I'm gonna say that's Colt. Now, I liked Colt way better than Roanoke. However, its lack of supernatural shenanigans and some of the normal staples of American Horror Story make it suffer. I feel that Ryan Murphy was focusing way too much on politics, but there's a lot of great things in that season. It's certainly nothing to be scoffed off. Next is Freak Show. Love Jimmy Darling, and I love Emma Roberts, especially when she's in a love story. But ultimately, I think it might have been just the freakish nature of the characters, and also not really loving any particular character that just made this season kind of not, just hit middle of the ground scenario. Next is Coven. I know number 6 is Coven. I know you all want to lynch me. I know it's a lot of your favorites. Or if it's not in the top 3, then I must be criminal. I'm a bad person. Don't get me wrong. 6 is not bad. Someone had to be at 6. It introduced Angela Bassett and Kathy Bates, who did amazing performances. Do love it. At number 5, directly in the middle, I have 1984. Now, in my opinion, top 5 is the gold standard of American Horror Story. And I will absolutely always enjoy rewatching it. I will always wish for those extra 2 episodes that just never materialized. But I think the season would have been better at 11 episodes. Next, we have Apocalypse. Now, Apocalypse had one of the most upsetting endings, in my opinion, of the history of American Horror Story, but at the same time, it has one of the most amazing thrill rides. From the destruction of the world to mutated freaks to somehow having to do with the Antichrist and having flashbacks that connect to both Murder House and Coven, it was a very good season. On number 3, we have Murder House, the thing that started it off. What I really liked ghosts become main characters, and we know they're ghosts, we know they can't die, we know they're in the drama, in the thick of it, and somehow, some way, they are still mysterious and scary. The whole thing is just creepy and weird. The fact that they were able to get a Columbine-style shooter, which nowadays you will never get away with on TV, I promise you that, was just master grade. Who thought that a show like this could exist? Number 2 is Asylum. So many twists and turns back in those days. I remember I used to theorize who Bloodyface was before the reveal. Really like Zachary Quinto's performance as Bloodyface, both as Thredson and Bloodyface. He's perfect at being both heroic and creepy. I'm sure that was the role that got him Spock. But not only that, that was Sarah Paulson's blow away one. Proved that she was a great actress with Asylum. I love it through and through. And finally, my ultimate favorite is Hotel. With the loss of Jessica Lange to the cast, I could not believe that they were replacing her with none other than Lady Gaga. What was going to happen of it? And what do you know? Lady Gaga does an amazing job. I love the stylistic nature of Hotel and all these colorful characters like Liz Taylor. I love the episode Devil's Night, and even though I predicted from long away the whole story of the Ten Commandments killer, it was very Fight Club, we saw it a mile away. That actor performed it so well. Not to mention, I honestly think it might have been one of Evan Peters' most interesting characters playing James Marsh. It's everything I love in American Horror Story, and that is my favorite. So what are yours? Let me know in the descriptions. How it should have ended. Now, many people have this segment, and they tend to be butchers who wish to rip up the story, go back several episodes and alter things, ripping chunks of meat and flesh off of the story that is American Horror Story 1984. However, I love it, and I am a surgeon, and I would just do minor adjustments to the finale. I really wish that the episode had been broken up into either the first half, which was the actual climax, and then they kind of ended where Brooke got shot on a cliffhanger, and then jump to the second part after a long commercial break, where, like a halftime, if you will, where Jingles' son is then the main character, and we have jumped 30 years into the future. Or, like I said, broken down into 2 episodes. I would most definitely add a Billy Idol. Now, I understand Ryan Murphy's desire to have this whole thing be one big running gag to make fun of Firefest. And we all know it, and we all got it. And I'm fine with the music festival not happening. However, he owed us Billy Idol. A lot of people are saying as Evan Peters. I would have loved that, would have been amazing, but I would have taken almost any actor. Billy Idol should have gotten through he flew all the way from the UK. He should have gotten in there, and he doesn't have to perform or anything, but we should have gotten him, and it should have emotionally affected our Night Stalker character. They have set it up way too much to ultimately just let it go flaccid. Next, Finn Whitlock. This is our epilogue where he's traveling, he's looking for the camp and all these things. He would have either been a priest or a ghostbuster or a parapsychologist or someone who has any type of profession that can deal with ghosts, particularly exorcisms. And where I'm going with it is at the end of this tale, I would allow him to say goodbye to his father and would have to exorcise the entire camp, just as Montana had always hoped. Basically, essentially allowing them to all go with the places they're supposed to. And where would the Night Stalker ultimately go after 30 years of being repetitively killed and all there? He would go down to hell, where he would have to face the devil and a punishment for failure. Instead of leaving the camp, an endless storm of chaos and insanity as it seemed to be while they're trying to maintain the Night Stalker in prison. It's just simply no way to end it, especially for characters we loved so very much. And I would have absolutely 1000% had a final scene where we are in Brooke's rich, happy life where she is in the suburbs and she should go alone into a room and she should draw a pentagram and she should cut herself. And they might even want to do a flashback of her dying 30 years earlier in Camp Redwood in 1989, and she swears her loyalty to Satan. Because I think we're all feeling it. I don't understand the point of having her shot and bleeding if there was no character to save her, and she just said she just woke up in the hospital with no explanation as to who it is. I would not even be surprised if they had actually filmed that scene, a scene just like that, showing her selling her soul to Satan, but for whatever reason they didn't add it in, or they didn't use it, they didn't want to go that way. But I think it's the most logical thing that could have happened, and definitely would be a fun way to end it. Finally, I would change Richard Ramirez's name. Simply make him a fictional character who has pseudo-historical similarities to Richard Ramirez. It would fix all of canon, and all this fan outrage would go away. It's such an easy fix. Ryan Murphy has done it before. Probably every season there's a fictional kid seems to have a very similar history or do events that are very similar to actual historical horror figures, such as serial killers and other things, similar to the nurses in American Horror Story Season 1. So I don't see why you couldn't do that in this case. And that, my peoples, is how I would have ended it. How would you have ended it? I've seen a lot of crazy theories, both on YouTube and Reddit, and I'm interested in hearing all of them. Please put them down in the comments. So there we have it. The 80s are dead, and 1984 with her. But she is gone, but not forgotten. What did you think of the final episode? What did you think of the entire season? Please let me know in the comments. And just to let you know, the Fat Mantis will not be letting you down during your mourning period for the next 10 months. And we're reporting on everything from actors, directors, and season concepts coming out of Ryan Murphy's office. The 80s are dead, but not forgotten. Until next time, I would like you to like, share, and subscribe. Go in peace and love. Ciao for now, bitches.